Hi, my name is Tom Tuplin. Welcome to my Applied Management Practice reflective video. The current graduate market is more challenging than ever for graduates trying to find a job after leaving university. This being due to the reduced graduate recruitment, which has fallen by 15.1% in 2020. Graduate employers look for these 10 traits in graduates: commercial awareness, communication skills, teamwork, negotiation and persuasion, problem solving, leadership, organisation, perseverance and motivation, the ability to work under pressure, and finally, confidence. These are the first two self-assessments which I carried out. The first one being the Johari window exercise. This exercise was carried out with both my friend and I, choosing 10 words from a list which related to me most as a person. I then used these words which we both got, and I put these into the Johari table. This table consists of 3 different boxes. The first box being words both my colleague and I chose. The second box being words my colleague chose but not myself. And the third box being words I chose but not my colleague. The second self-assessment, which is on the right, is the Diamond self-assessment. This gives you 10 descriptions which you have to score yourself out of 10, with reasoning afterwards. As you can see, I only scored myself on one of them as low as a 5. But on some of them, I scored myself as high as a 9. 9 means I feel more confident with that description, and I gave reasonable justification. These are the next 2 self-assessments in which I carried out. The first one of these being the Big 5 personality test. This self-assessment offers a variety of questions in the different categories for a result at the end showing me what I am more of and what I am less of. For example, in the category mind, this showed I was 64% extroverted and 36% introverted. This showed I was a little bit more extroverted than I am introverted. However, in the category energy, this was a lot closer, this being because I was 48% intuitive and 52% observant. This self-assessment took a lot longer to do in comparison to other self-assessments, but this one gave a clearer answer at the end. On the right is the Belbin Self-Perception Inventory Assessment. This assessment also applies a lot of questions and a lot of categories. However, in this assessment, you have to score yourself out of 10 for each category. So for example, in the first category, I have 8 questions with a maximum of 10 points to use throughout the 8 questions. If I feel like I apply to something more, I give that a higher score in comparison to something I don't feel I apply to at all. At the end of this, I fill all my answers into a table, and this gives me a score at the end. This being the most was teamwork. Teamwork was the one that applied to me more and gave me the highest score. This next self-assessment is the skills assessment. This offers a wide range of skills which I have to answer and score myself up to 7. For the skills which I feel apply to me more and I am better at, I will give a higher score in comparison to something I feel I'm not very good at. For example, in the category communication skills, understanding non-verbal communication, I scored myself a 3. However, in the clarifying category, I gave myself a 5, which shows I feel a lot confident and have better skills in the clarifying skill set in comparison to the understanding non-verbal communication skill set. This is my SWOT analysis. This wholly focuses on my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and last of all, threats. When looking through my analysis, it is clear to see that advanced communication skills are a key threat of mine, as they have occurred in more than one of my self-assessments. However, in my strengths column, teamworking skills has occurred in more than one of my self-assessments, showing this is a key strength of mine and doesn't need to be worked on. This is my gap analysis. The gap analysis looks at my personal attributes. This also goes through my strengths, my weaknesses. It shows the gap between me and the ideal candidate and the profile of the ideal candidate. As you can see in green are strengths which are the same as the ideal candidate. So strengths which I have and also the ideal candidate has. In the weaknesses column, highlighted in yellow, you can see things which are what the ideal candidate has, but I don't have as yet. And in the gap, these are things that I don't have at all, which need to be worked on to become the ideal candidate. As you can see, highlighted in blue, commercial awareness is something which I feel I need to work on to become that ideal candidate. Here is my PDP, also known as my Personal Development Plan. My Personal Development Plan identifies key weaknesses I need to work on, which are found in the gap and SWOT analysis. Once I identified the problem, I decide how I am going to go about the problem and help change the situation and change this from a weakness to a strength. The end goal is that I set a time frame of when I want to achieve this particular weakness of mine. Finally, in the column you can see I would like to increase my ability to work under pressure. So what I will do, I will set myself a target of when I want to do this by, how I'm going to do this, and what resources I will need to achieve this. I give myself a success criteria to keep me motivated whilst trying to change my weakness. This is the first objective I set myself. This was improving my commercial awareness skills. Within this table there are 5 headings: key dates, what did I do, why, what did I learn from this, and how will I use this. The end goal from using this objective was to increase my commercial awareness skills, creating me into the ideal candidate. In my free time, I took a job in my family business, helping me increase my commercial awareness. This was by looking into the business as a whole and taking the buying side for the business on my shoulders. This gave me an insight onto how a business runs, works, and how a business makes money. My second objective was my advanced communication. This was to learn a new language, and in my case Spanish. As you can see in this screenshot below, I learned the 50 basic Spanish words and phrases for beginners, as I am a beginner wanting to learn the language. I set myself the same table with a different date. I gave myself one weekend in April to learn these 50 basic Spanish words and phrases. I did this because I wanted to advance my communication skills with friends that I have who are Spanish speaking their language. I feel that this will increase my chances of becoming the ideal candidate by learning this new language, increasing my advanced communication skills. This is my third and final objective, improving my time management skills. As you can see, I created 2 different calendars, one for May and one for June. There are 3 different colours highlighted: red, blue and green. In red, this was my assessment due in for the 16th of June. In blue, I had an exam due also on the 16th of June. And in green, I had an assessment due in for the 28th of June. In red, I gave myself 21 days to get this work done and completed. For my second assessment, I gave myself a lot longer, this being because it was a lot of a longer assessment. Finally, the exam, I gave myself 4 days, 3 days to revise and prepare, and the final day to do the exam itself. This organised my work immensely, as I got all my work done on time and handed in on the dates. Here is my revised SWOT analysis, my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. In my strengths column, I have gained 3 extra points, these being advanced communication skills, commercial awareness and time management. These 3 strengths were the weaknesses and threats in my previous SWOT analysis. I have been working on those over the last weeks to improve these from weaknesses and threats into strengths. However, when I was working on these, I realised my IT and Excel skills weren't up to scratch, and I felt like I needed to work on these more. So, this is now a new weakness of mine. Here you can see my revised gap analysis. On the left, I have shown the before gap analysis, and on the right, my new current gap analysis. As you can see on the left, there was very minimal green and very heavy signs of blue and yellow. This shows there was a lot of improvements that I needed to make to become the ideal candidate. However, now, in my new gap analysis, there is a lot of green and very minimal yellow and blue. This shows I have been working on my weaknesses and improving them onto my strengths. Highlighted in blue is becoming more adaptable to self-motivation. This is the last weakness I need to improve on to become the more of an ideal candidate. This is my revised personal development plan. As you can see, I have 3 new things I would like to learn. One of these being to become a leader and take lead in activities. When I'm doing group activities, I feel like I don't take lead of the group and I sit back a little bit, even though I perform well as a group. If I stick to my success criteria properly, by the end of September 2021, I will feel like I have improved on this, and this will now be a strength of mine.